Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Saturday, April 12th, 2025. Now if you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Put your baseball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily rundown best bet in Major League Baseball, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alright, here we go. Here are the games for Saturday in Major League Baseball. First up, the Detroit Tigers taking on the Minnesota Twins. Jackson Jobe and Chris Paddack are your starters. We originally thought Paddack was going to go on Friday. He's moved to Saturday. I do think he'll bounce back from that rough opening day or season debut start against the White Sox. He was a lot better against the Astros in the second outing. Did struggle, though, towards the end of that start, and the Twins blew a 7-1 lead, losing that game in extra innings. But I don't think that's going to be the case in this one. I still think that Minnesota's bullpen, one of the best in the league and the better bullpen in this matchup. And, Jackson Jobe in his first two games, 9 innings, 7 walks. The control's been an issue so far. I think Minnesota, a team that, struggled offensively, but has a low strikeout rate, can work the counts, get on base. I think they'll get to Jobe for a couple of runs early, and I think they have the lead in the middle innings enough to where their bullpen takes care of the rest. Give me the Twins in this one on the money line. I'd also take Jackson Jobe under strikeouts. I don't think he pitches deep into this ball game, so I think he goes under his strikeout prop. Next up, the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. We got Christopher Sanchez and Miles Mikolas on the mound. Mikolas really struggled in that last game at Fenway Park. And we know it's a hitter-friendly ballpark, but it is tough to back him in this spot, directly after that outing. 2 2/3, 11 hits, 8 earned runs, just the 1 strikeout, and an 18-7 loss. Cardinals are 0-2 in the first 2 games for Mikolas, and the Phillies are 2-0 in the first 2 games for Sanchez. He wasn't his best in that last game, but it was against the Dodgers, a tough lineup. Still, 5 2/3, 4 runs was enough for the Phillies to go on to win. He had 9 strikeouts. He's at 16 Ks through his first 11. He's pitched well against the current Cardinals lineup in very limited work, and the Phillies have actually put together some good ABs against Mikolas in about 200 plate appearances. He's pitched in the National League, and throughout his career, he's faced these Phillies hitters, and they've got pretty good numbers of .543 expected slugging percentage. I got to go with the Phillies in this one on the money line and run line. Next up, we have the San Francisco Giants and the New York Yankees. This one, 3:05 Eastern, is going to be on Fox Sports 1. Now, I mentioned my concerns with Jordan Hicks as a starting pitcher to start the season. I think he'll pitch pretty well at the beginning of the year. I worry about the middle and the end of the season like we saw last year. And, even in his second start of the season, he was great in the first outing. Second game, gave up a couple of home runs, 3 earned runs, and that was at Oracle Park, the very pitcher-friendly Oracle Park. Now you go on the road to Yankee Stadium to face the Yankees. I think this is a tough matchup for Hicks, and I think the Yankees can get to him for a few early. Will Warren's got an ERA at 6, but his strikeout numbers have been there. He's only given up 1 home run in the first 2 games combined. So he has a 6 ERA, but a 3.93 xFIP. I think he's going to be better as the season continues. I think he gets the run support in this one. I'm going to go with the Yankees on the money line at Yankee Stadium. Next up, the New York Mets taking on the Athletics. We got David Peterson for New York, no official starter for the A's. David Peterson, we've always known he's got good strikeout stuff, and he's got 12 Ks and 10 2/3 this season. The issue in his career has been the control, the walks and the home runs, especially the walks, and we see 8 of them given up in 10 2/3 to start the year. A couple of home runs as well. The expected numbers aren't the sharpest because of it, and now you're facing an Athletics team that's number 1 right now in team OPS and isolated power against lefties. It's a very small sample size, but they've hit lefties well with a low strikeout rate to go with it. I think they can get to Peterson for a few runs early. This A's bullpen right now has not been the best, so I'm going to go with the A's in the first 5 innings on the money line, but I do think they also could win the full game as well. Next up, we have the Tampa Bay Rays and the Atlanta Braves. A.J. Smith-Shawver and Drew Rasmussen are the projected starters. Originally we thought that Smith-Shawver was going to go on Friday, and he's moved to Saturday here. I mentioned that I thought he was going to get some run support against the Rays on Friday enough to win the game, but this time around, now against Rasmussen, I actually think that the Rays are the play. I think Rasmussen's done a great job at keeping the ball on the ground. His ground ball percentage right around 50% in his first 2 games. He's mixed in some strikeouts. His control's been excellent. Only 1 walk in those first 2 starts and no home runs given up. Smith-Shawver, while I think he's a lot better than what we've seen so far, he's got great strikeout numbers. He's also had some issues with the base runners, a lot of walks, a lot of base hits. I think the Rays can do enough damage. I think a lower scoring game than we're used to seeing at Steinbrenner Field, but it's tough to predict too many low scoring games with the short porch and the Tampa Heat right now. But I think that the Rays win this game at home, so I'm going to go with Tampa Bay on the money line. Next up, we have the Washington Nationals taking on the Miami Marlins. Trevor Williams and Sandy Alcantara on the mound. I think this is a good spot for the Marlins. Trevor Williams was one of the more profitable pitchers in baseball last year, but so far this year, he is struggling a bit in his first 10 innings. 6 runs, but 15 base hits, a home run to go with it, and a couple of walks. And I think the Marlins will be able to find some runs on him early. And Sandy Alcantara, while we saw the end of his first outing against the Pirates, and even at times in his second start against the Mets, he lost his control a little bit. He was giving up some sharp contact. I still think he's a great option for this Marlins rotation, the ace of this rotation. And the Marlins are 2-0 in his first 2 games. He's got great career numbers against the current Nationals hitters. I got to go with the Marlins in this one on the money line and maybe lay 1.5 runs to get some nice plus money on your side. Next up, the Chicago White Sox taking on the Boston Red Sox. We're going to see Martin Perez and Richard Fitts on the mound. Martin Perez is limiting sharp contact. He's not keeping the ball on the ground. He's giving up a lot of fly balls, but you look at the barrel percentage, hard hit percentage, average exit velocity. So far, Perez, some of the best numbers in baseball, and his expected ERA is a little bit steeper than his current ERA, which makes sense as right now it's sub 1. But he's still, the expected numbers aren't too shabby for Perez. He's been able to mix in some strikeouts. He's got 13 Ks and 12 1/3. The control's been fine. 5 walks and 12 1/3, a little steep, but overall, he's pitching well. Him and Shane Smith have been the 2 best options in this White Sox rotation by far. And for me, when you look at Richard Fitts on the other side, he's not really a consistent strikeout option. The walks we saw pile up in that last game against the Blue Jays. Red Sox were 0-2 in his first 2 starts. I think the value lies with the White Sox in this game. Perez was on his way to his second win in that last start against the Tigers. He pitched well enough for it, but the White Sox bullpen blew it in the end. They had a 3-1 lead in the 9th inning. This time around, I think Perez has a chance for that second win. If not, at least a run line cover. Give me Chicago in this one. Next up, the Kansas City Royals taking on the Cleveland Guardians. Michael Lorenzen and Luis Ortiz are your starters. I do think Ortiz would be better suited out of the bullpen for Cleveland. It just hasn't worked as a starting pitcher so far. He's got the 0-2 record, ERA above 8. And you look at his numbers, the per 9s are not great either. 4 walks and 10 2/3, a couple of homers, only 5 strikeouts, a lot of sharp contact, a lot of base runners, 16 hits in those 10-2. I think the Royals get to him, and I also think, Lorenzen, while he's not my favorite option, he's a starting pitcher. It doesn't always look great on paper, but he finds a way to get outs. He pitches usually a lot of innings per season, and against the Guardians lineup that I don't trust right now consistently, especially against a right-handed pitcher, I think Lorenzen's going to be good enough. He was good enough against the Twins in his last start, 6 innings, 1 run, a quality start. I'm going to take the Royals in this one on the money line. Next up, the Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the Cincinnati Reds. We got Andrew Heaney for Pittsburgh, no official starter for the Reds. Andrew Heaney making his Great American debut. He's pitched at a lot of ballparks in his career, including the Field of Dreams Park that he played in a couple of years ago, but not in Great American. And I think that you look at his last start against the Yankees, 7 innings, 1 run, 10 strikeouts. It's tough to go against that. That was against the Yanks, who have crushed lefties to start the year. The Reds have not. They've been one of the worst lineups in baseball against left-handed pitching to start this season. 462 team OPS, 26% strikeout rate. So, we'll have to wait and see who the official starter is for the Reds, but I think Heaney could put together another quality start. I like the Pirates' chances right now on the money line on the road. Next up, we have the Houston Astros and the Los Angeles Angels. We got Tyler Anderson and Ryan Gusto as the starters. It's funny, you look at the numbers. I couldn't believe this at first, but teams are really avoiding pitching lefties when it comes to facing the Astros, whether it's by design or by coincidence. The Astros as a team, going into Friday's game with the Angels, have only 13 plate appearances total against lefties to start the year. there's teams out there like the Yankees, 221. The Tigers are 180. A lot of the teams are in the triple digits. The Astros at 13. So, they are right now dead last in team OPS against lefties at 258, but it's such a small sample, it's not even worth mentioning it. And over the years, the Astros have been very, very good against lefties. I know their lineup's a lot different this year. No Kyle Tucker, no Alex Bregman, and over the years, they've lost some of their, lefty killers like Carlos Correa. But I still think I like the matchup for the Astros against Tyler Anderson. The current Astros hitters have pretty good numbers against them. Gusto's been pretty good as a reliever. I don't expect him to go too deep into this ball game, but I like the chances here for the Astros to pick up the win. Give me Houston at home. Next up, we have the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. Corbin Burnes facing his former team in this one, up against Chad Patrick on the other side. Now, Burnes has struggled in his first couple of games as a Diamondback this season, and most notably that last game where he gave up 4 runs, 4 walks, 5 innings against the Nationals. Neither of those games were at Chase Field, which we know is a very hitter-friendly ballpark, but those first 2 games were at other hitter-friendly ballparks, Yankee Stadium and Nationals Park. For me, obviously Burnes doesn't have a lot of experience against the Brewers, pitching for Milwaukee for most of his career, but in the 18 plate appearances he has against them, pretty steep numbers for the Brewers batters. 612 expected slugging percentage, 316 expected batting average. Burnes, not pitching well to start the year. Chase Field debut. You got Chad Patrick on the other side, who's pitched pretty well, but I still don't trust him, too much in this ball game against a tough lineup. The Brewers' bullpen ERA is the second steepest in baseball, only lower than the Rockies right now going into Friday's game. So I got to go with the over in Diamondbacks Brewers. Next up, we have the Colorado Rockies taking on the San Diego Padres. Chase Dollander and Kyle Hart are your starters. In his Major League debut, Dollander wasn't the best, wasn't the worst. 5 innings, 4 runs, 7 hits, a couple of bombs. At Coors Field, though, if you're able to get the win with 6 strikeouts in those 5 innings and just the 1 walk, it's good enough. And I think that we'll see Dollander continue to improve, the number 1 prospect in the Rockies organization. I actually like his matchup here against San Diego, and for me, I also like the matchup for the Rockies bats against Kyle Hart. It's not easy back in the Rockies offense away from home, but they've been a lot better against lefties than righties so far this year. And Kyle Hart, not really my favorite option on the other side. Look at his last game; he only went 2.3 of an inning, 5 runs, 4 walks. The control was way off. I think the Rockies find a few off them, and I think this is their best chance. Just looking at this series on the surface, going into Friday's game, this was the game I said the Rockies got the best chance to win. I'm going to go with Colorado plus the 1.5 runs and on the money line. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Chicago Cubs. Ben Brown and Roki Sasaki are the projected starters. I think Sasaki puts together his best outing of the season thus far. He's coming off his best start so far against the Phillies, which was only 4 innings, but 4 strikeouts, 1 run, and that was a Dodgers win. In fact, even when he was struggling against the Cubs and the Tigers with his control in his first 2 games, they ended up being Dodgers wins. That's how strong this Dodgers lineup is. They're able to back him up. I think they will against Ben Brown, who struggled in that last game against San Diego. 5 runs, a homer, 4 walks to go with it. I'm going to go with the Dodgers in this one because I think they score early and late against a not-so-great Cubs bullpen. Give me the Dodgers on the run line. Next up, the Seattle Mariners taking on the Texas Rangers. Kumar Rocker and Brian Wu are the starters. I believe the Rangers were the team that Wu faced in his Major League debut, and he struggled in that game back in 2023, but went on to have a decent 2023 overall, pitched better in 24, and I think he'll pitch even better in 25. I think this is a lopsided pitching matchup in favor of Seattle. Kumar Rocker's got great velocity on his fastball. The strikeout numbers being inconsistent, though, really scares me. Only 1K and 5 innings against the Rays in that last start, and he gave up a couple of bombs in that first start against the Reds. I think that while the Mariners are not a great lineup, they'll be able to do enough damage here to give Wu enough run support and give the bullpen enough run support to coast to victory. So give me the Mariners in this one on the money line. I don't really love laying run line with the Mariners because of that offense and the pitcher-friendly ballpark, but I think there's a chance Seattle wins by margin. And that's it. Those are the games for Saturday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium, and there is a link in the description. As always, Romanelli, good luck.